This is the moment we've all been waiting for the thousands in attendance and the millions watching around the world. Let's get ready to
Welcome to the Junkyard Pod. I'm Tony Pesta, joined by Jackson Flickinger and the Cleveland Cavaliers. Listen, it wasn't pretty, especially at the end. It was pretty for a moment. There were some good moments in this game, but it did not end on the highest note. That being said, they did get a win. The Cavs have their first win of the season. I know that it was a little sloppy. Things got a little helter-skelter, but you know what? It feels good to see the Cavs win a game again. You know, it's been how many months since we got to watch them win a game? It just feels good. So I know that there's going to be some negative takes that probably fly off throughout this one. We're going to complain a little bit, but they're back in the win column. We're back. We're officially here. Jackson, how do you feel about the Cavs' first win of the season?
I don't think I've ever been lower on this team. Like this was an absolutely embarrassing display of basketball from a team that you expect to be a championship contender. Like, I'm not even trying to be hyperbolic. The Brooklyn Nets have the least talent of any team in the NBA. I think that's pretty clear. The Cleveland Cavaliers, we've talked about this, arguably have the most talent of any team in the NBA.
When healthy. It is worth it.
Sure. Yeah, when healthy.
Rotation are guys who are not going to play in the playoffs.
Like, you had Craig Porter Jr. coming in and going like 5 of 7.
He did play good though. Yeah, I will
say this was
Jalen Tyson starting. He played 23 minutes. Craig played 14. He did play good though, so like it's not really.
But I'm saying like there's
played 12 minutes.
Right. My whole point is
game of the year.
I'm not trying to talk about Craig Porter Jr. I'm saying that, like, I get that argument, but also, like, if Craig Porter Jr. was on the Nets, how many minutes is Craig Porter Jr. getting? Like, probably a lot. You know, like.
Yeah.
Anyway, the whole
point guard.
Anyway, the whole point. The Nets are bad. The Nets
suck, but it's the second game of the year, and if there's ever a time for like the teams that suck to feel good about themselves, it's like the first couple weeks of the season before you get too down. Like, you look up and it's like, we're only 0-1. Like, you know, let's go out. And you know what? To their credit, I know that they suck, but to their credit, they balled out. Like, I know the Cavs dropped the ball in many ways, but they also, like, the Nets went crazy. Michael Porter Jr., Cam Thomas, and Zaire Williams combined.
Those are the 3 NBA players they have.
They combined for 89 points, and they shot basically 60% from the field. Now, the Cavs played a big role in allowing them to do that. We're going to get into it, but it is just worth giving credit where it's due. The NBA, I know, again, I'm going to say it for the third time, the Nets suck, but there's so much talent in the NBA now that you can't.
But not on the Nets. That's the whole thing.
There's some, though. Listen, back in the day, you know, like the Charlotte Bobcats, they didn't have 3 guys who could combine for 89 points, and I don't think they'll do this.
The Nets have 3 guys that should combine for 89 points, so that's sort of the whole issue here.
They probably won't do it again. But like Cam Thomas probably would have.
Cam Thomas is a bucket, so that's true.
Yeah, but anyways, I'll let you.
And Michael Porter Jr. is a bucket.
I rudely interrupted you.
Yeah. Basically, this was an abysmal performance from the defensive side of the ball, and it was a bad performance against the Knicks, but I don't think we overreacted to it. In the Knicks game, we kind of pointed some things out, but like the Knicks are a elite team.
They're going to hang points on you. The Nets shouldn't. And the Nets scored how many more points than the Knicks did on us? 5. Did the Knicks have 119? I think Nets had 124.
I think they did. Yeah.
The point is the Nets scored more.
The Nets scored more from the field. We can 7 free throws. But I think one of the issue that I keep running back into is that like this Cavs team, and I felt this at times last year, but never to this level. This Cavs team has incredible individual defenders on the team. You know, Dean Wade, Evan Mobley, Jarrett Allen, Lonzo Ball. Those are 4 like top tier defenders. But I don't know what the Cavs are trying to do on defense. Like, I know the Cavs are trying to create more turnovers, because that's what Kenny Atkinson told us, and you know that that's the case because they keep getting out of position trying to get turnovers. But, like, what is their guiding principle right now? It seems to be just like, let's just sort of try to get turnovers, try to jump passing lanes, and it just ends up looking like this really lazy defense that is constantly in rotation, not taking away the three ball. The Nets attempted and made more threes than the Cavs did, and not really stopping shots at the rim. The Nets shot above league average in the restricted area, while taking one less shot at the rim and making one less shot at the rim than the Cavs. Those are the kind of things that can't happen when you are a team that is the best one of the best 3-point shooting teams in the league, and one of the best teams at getting to the rim in the league. And you had a great night from Jarrett Allen, who did all of his damage at the rim, and an amazing night from Donovan Mitchell, who did a lot of damage at the rim. So it's really concerning that. Listen, it's one thing to lose focus in the fourth quarter. That's honestly not that big of a deal. It's just throughout the game, it felt more so like the offense was sort of covering up a lot of these issues on defense, and I felt that the offense was covering up a lot of the issues on defense last year. This year, so far, through 2 games, the defense is bad, and the offense was great tonight, so I don't want to shortchange them there. But this was just...
the offense still had a lot of issues, but the results were
it
good.
did. Right, sure.
Still some icky stuff there, but...
Yeah, and they were bailed out by... Yeah, they were bailed out by getting to the line.
Yeah, in terms of dictating things. But
right, for sure.
I agree with a lot of what you said right there. And just to like highlight this, I do think the Cavs played pretty solid defense in the first half. Like, Brooklyn was turning the ball over like crazy. Part of that was the Cavs. Part of it was just some bad turnovers from the Nets, in all honesty. But they scored 23 points in the first quarter, 28 in the second. That's good defense from the Cavs. Then they go off for 35 in the third quarter, and they hang 38 points on the Cavs in the fourth quarter. Part of that, again, is maybe letting your foot off the gas a little bit, but it's also, I know it's, even if you count the Knicks game, it's only a 2-game sample size, so we can't repeat it enough. We're not getting carried away. But with the way that the Cavs are playing uber aggressive, trying to apply as much ball pressure as possible, trying to generate as many turnovers as possible, we've found them chasing the ball a lot. They're trailing plays a lot. And specifically, I know I picked on him last game, and I'm really only picking on him because he's like the one who is most at the forefront of this, being tasked to do something that he's not succeeding at, is Jalen Tyson. My guy is just getting torched. I mean, he is getting blown by every other possession, and he's doing his, like, you can't say he's not playing hard, because he is, but he's just being overexerted as a guy who maybe doesn't have the foot speed to be picking up ball handlers, that far above the 3-point line and pressuring them like this. And when he gets beat, now the defense is in rotation, and it's not just Tyson. Everyone on this team looks a step slow right now. They're a little disorganized, and they're just, whether it's Tyson directly or someone else gambling for a steal and not getting it, or not getting the rebound, which is a problem again tonight, the Cavs are just not playing their best defense right now. I looked this up, and this is, I tried my best to just count real quick. Last season, how many times do you think the Cavs allowed an opponent to score 124 points in regulation?
Probably say like 8 times.
11. That was off my rough count, just counting the box scores right there. But 11 times. So it didn't happen often last season. And listen, they took a decent, like a small step back in terms of defense last year compared to where they used to be. They fell all the way to 8th, I believe, in defensive rating. I don't care where they are right now because it's only 2 games. But right now it looks like they're a step back from where they were last year, which would be bad because we want them to go back into that top 5, maybe even top 3 in defensive rating. And sure, the guys aren't healthy right now, but like Darius Garland isn't known for his defense. Max Strus can play some defense. DeAndre Hunter, he can play defense. He could help, but they're not going to come in and completely change things. I don't think Strus would probably help the most in that regard. Point is, with the way they're playing right now, it's not going to get a lot better until they start to lock in. And maybe if they start to, they might have to adjust how they're playing, is what you were getting at. Is like, maybe this approach doesn't match the personnel that they have, because they do have a lot of good defenders on this team, but it's how are you playing defense? You might not be able to be the Indiana Pacers, where you just apply as much ball pressure as possible and go crazy getting steals and generating turnovers. You might have to play a slower half-court game where maybe you drop the bigs a little bit. Maybe you don't switch everything. We talked about this last pod, so I don't want to recover it or retread it all over again. But it is worth noting in these two games, the defense has been bad, and it doesn't look like something that's going to magically fix itself.
I think that it's easy to just see the end of a possession and say, offensive rebound. Our boys aren't tough enough. They're just not getting the boards. They just don't want it. And sometimes that's true, honestly. I don't want to say that that's not always true, but usually offensive rebounds are kind of the result of issues that happened much earlier in the possession. Like if a guy gets blown by and your center has to step up to contest a floater, that means the opposing center has either nobody or somebody's trying to rotate down to kind of take, to try to block somebody out. That's how you get an offensive rebound. In the Cavs case, that's not happening. That's kind of where the JB Bickerstaff era, when they would get offensive rebounds, it was because it would be Darius Garland or Jetty Osman's just hey, my guy got past me. Oh, well. And Evan Mobley, please help me. And then he steps up, his guy gets an offensive rebound. But in this case, I don't feel like that's the issue. It's just all right, we switched this thing when we didn't have to, or we over gambled in the passing lane. So now Evan Mobley has to step up to the corner to try to guard the 3-point shooter. And the center has Jalen Tyson on him, and the center is just going to clean up the rebound. Or there's a long rebound. Jarrett Allen's in the corner, nowhere near where the ball is. The guards aren't really going for it. So it just becomes kind of like a jump ball in the middle. And, oh, look, the Nets have it. Oh, look, somebody else is wide open. That's a 3. So, and that's how it was against the Knicks as well. So it's it is one where it's the guards have to do a better job of trying to get rebounds. And it's Jarrett Allen, you can't have a day where you have 4 rebounds. I think he had 6 rebounds today. It was either 6 or 8, something like that. It wasn't. Yeah. So that's not a lot, but I don't think that was, it's easy to point out that's a Jarrett Allen issue, but I feel that's not a Jarrett Allen. That's not a Jarrett Allen issue. That's a Jarrett Allen has to be somewhere where the offense is fine with him being, because something broke down elsewhere. And it's that can't happen on a team where only the bigs can rebound. Lonzo can rebound, but Donovan Mitchell, not a good rebounder. Darius Garland, not a good rebounder. Max Strus, a fine rebounder for a 2-guard, not a good rebounder, but a serviceable one. DeAndre Hunter, bad rebounder. Sam Merrill, he's pretty small. So you keep going down this list, and it's Dean Wade is a good rebounder, but he's not he's maybe a B- rebounder, a B rebounder. He's not an A+ rebounder. So it's really your rebounding comes down to your bigs, and particularly, your 2 7-footers. And if they're not in the play, you're not in a good spot to get a rebound. So it's I just don't know what this Cavs defense is trying to do, because whatever they're trying to do, they're not doing. And there's a lot of problems because of that.
I agree. Again, I want to reiterate, it's only game 2, so we'll see a lot of these problems, these wrinkles could get ironed out. But to your point, I'm just going to read the box score a little bit. We've talked about this at length a million times over, but the theme here is that if Mobley and Allen aren't getting the rebound, you're struggling to get it. Sam Merrill, 1 rebound tonight. Thought he played great, but only 1 rebound. Donovan Mitchell, 2 rebounds. Jalen Tyson, 4 rebounds. Now you go to the Nets. Michael Porter Jr., who's playing small forward for them, had 8 rebounds. Nick Claxton, the center, had 9. Now, the rest of the team didn't grab all that many. I don't know if I'm going to pronounce this right. Igor Demon, who came off the bench for them, who, he's not a particularly big guy. He had 6, right? And so, other guys shipped in for the Nets off the bench. But for the Cavs, Sam Merrill only had 1. Mitchell only had 2. Craig Porter, 2 rebounds. Tyrese Proctor, 1 rebound. They're not a huge team outside of the 2 bigs. Now, Larry Nance Jr. helped a little bit. He only had 3 rebounds, but, he played 16 minutes. He was overall good. The point that we're getting to here is that, yes, it's easy to blame the bigs, and in many instances, you can blame the bigs, right? Against the Knicks. Go ahead, blame Jarrett Allen. That was his fault for only grabbing, 4 rebounds? That was – I know the box score doesn't seem that drastically different because he only had 6 tonight, but it is you do have to watch the games too, right? the 4 rebounds against New York was a lot worse than the 6 rebounds he had against Brooklyn, because Jarrett Allen, and you know what, we've been complaining for the first 15 minutes. I'll shift to like something, you already mentioned this, but just to get a little more positive, because people are probably like, why are they so upset? We got to win. Jarrett Allen was awesome tonight. He responded to the challenge. You know, Kenny Atkinson, we both texted each other this. You put it in the takeaways as well. It's kind of crazy how if you just remind Jarrett Allen that he's important, all of a sudden he comes out and he plays really important, right? Like his energy, his activity tonight was awesome. And genuinely, his activity is the reason that they held on to this one in the fourth quarter. He really helped turn the momentum back into our favor. Now, Donovan Mitchell was also incredible. The shot making was on display all night. We don't win this without Mitchell scoring 35, but I thought Jarrett Allen came out super aggressive right from the jump. He maybe disappeared for a little bit in the second half, but he came back when they needed him. He had 13 points in the first half. These 2 awesome drives out of the dribble handoffs that I really love to see, because Allen, for his size, like there's a lot of talking about where do you get Allen involved in the offense, right? And I do think the Cavs focused a lot on getting him the ball today. There were many instances where they deliberately went out of their way to get him the ball. But then there was also some of Jarrett Allen going and getting his own opportunities, like those drives out of the dribble handoffs where he posterized, I think it was Claxton maybe on the one, and then he dunked the second one over nobody, because what's happening there is Jarrett Allen's at the top of the key, and he's running a screening action with Sam Merrill. And because the defense is playing up so high on that, if Jarrett Allen just turns and burns, he can get to the rim. He has really great line drive speed for a player of his size. And when he plays aggressive, that's a shot attempt that he can get at, once or twice a game like he did tonight. Now, against better teams, it's not going to be as easy, but there is a give and take that we've been talking about where it's like, or not a give and take, but there's a balance where, yes, you got to go out of your way to get Allen the ball sometimes, but also he needs to be more aggressive. And I thought we saw the perfect combination of that tonight, where the Cavs were looking for him every time he had a mismatch, and he was also looking to score when he had opportunities. So awesome game from Jarrett Allen. Really, really happy to see that.
One thing I think that honestly, I don't care about Jarrett Allen's scoring. Like, I like, not to be like dismissive, but like that's not how I like grade Jarrett Allen. I feel like what Jarrett Allen provides that nobody else on this team does is like really hard screen setting. And I feel like his screen setting for Donovan Mitchell, like particularly led to him getting to the free throw line as many times as he did. Because when Allen's there setting that hard screen, the defense has to make a decision. Like, do you overcommit? Is there going to be a mismatch? It just creates all these problems that an Evan Mobley screen does not create, and nobody else on the team can really screen. There's just not a good screening team.
A little bit, yeah.
Larry's fine. Larry's fine.
Even Allen can have moments where he's a really bad screen setter, but as you're saying, like, when he decides to deliver a screen, you're like, Allen. Can I just say this really quickly? And I don't want to interrupt you, but like, yeah, I know Allen plays smaller than he is sometimes, and we kind of get carried away with it. But like, Allen is a big dude. He's not the biggest player in the NBA, but he's not like this super frail, tiny little 6'5" guy. He's 6'11", and he does have some size to him. It's just because he plays kind of smaller than he is, I think people almost get carried away with it. Again, he's not like jacked or anything, but he's got some legit size to him. If he wants to set a good screen, he can. And we saw that tonight.
And that's sort of what I'm getting at is like when he is aggressive, when he's playing good, he sets good screens. Like I'm thinking the beginning, like games 1 and 2 of the Pacers series. Good screens from Jarrett Allen. Maybe game 3. I mean, the Cavs like blew him out in game 3, so probably. Yeah, but like,
I remember he played great in game 2 as well.
Yeah, but like you look at like the end of the series where he's not playing well, he's not really assertive. You're getting a lot of weak screens, and it's like that's the thing that shouldn't be like. It shouldn't be. Oh, Jarrett Allen has 15 points. Now he's gonna like we unlocked the screen setting badge. Like no, the screen setting badge should be unlocked all the time. Because if he's setting hard screens as well, he's probably going to be getting good shots because setting a hard screen, if you have as much rim gravity as Jarrett Allen, forces the defense to make a decision. You set a hard screen, you're taking one person out of the play. Now, is someone rotating down from the corner? How are they defending the ball handler? Like, it creates this mini, 3-on-4 advantage or something like that. So those are the things that I want to see from Jarrett Allen all the time. And I talked about this in the takeaways, but it's easy to overlook Jarrett Allen's role in like the core four, and I do this a lot too, where it's like it all matters what Garland, Mitchell, and Mobley do, and it's like from a certain extent that's true, but like Allen is really good and really valuable to this team, and when he is playing assertive, you see that, and you see all the good stuff that Allen can provide, which makes nights like the game against the Knicks so frustrating. It's not that he's only getting 4 shots, is that he's disappearing and just not having an impact on offensive end and not having an impact on defense.
Yeah, and I agree with that. It is frustrating. I do think there is there's obviously some inherent stuff that comes from like if he's not touching the ball, then players in general just become less energetic and stuff like that. Like that's a natural thing that happens. But it's also like, well, that's kind of your role though, Jarrett. You know, like you're not Kyrie Irving where you need to be touching the ball to, you know, buy in defensively or something. That might be a random comparison, but it's like you are closer to Tristan Thompson in this scenario. Like you are supposed to be the garbage man. If you don't touch the ball a couple times, we still need you to be energetic, set hard screens, play defense, go after the rebound, because that's kind of your role. And so I see both sides of it, right? Like obviously you do have to make sure that he's involved, because especially without Darius in the game, you have to go a little out of your way to get him involved. But it's probably, I would say, like 70% Jarrett Allen, maybe even higher
I think
percentage,
that's good.
like needing to be needing to embrace his role, and then like 30% the team needing to make sure he stays involved, because it is true. Like if you're just running up and down the court, not getting the ball, guys are going to slouch a little bit, and that's not an excuse for him. It's just you literally see it across the league year over year. That's going to happen. So the main bulk of responsibility is, of course, on Jarrett Allen himself. And you know what? He was great tonight. Like just to read off this box score: 22 points, 6 rebounds, 4 assists, 2 steals, and a block. He had a huge steal near the end of the game where Claxton was just kind of showing him the ball, and he was like, I'm just going to go take that. I'm just going to go get it. He even, I can't believe I forgot to mention this, after he dunked and posterized, I believe it was Claxton, I can't remember for some reason, he posterized somebody, he flexed on them. Have you ever seen Jarrett Allen flex on an opponent? I've never seen that in my life. It was the camera cut away, so I don't know what extent he did it to, but hey, man, this was a really aggressive Jarrett Allen. I've never seen him flex on an opponent like that.
One thing I do love is an away crowd, like when the opposing team does something really cool and there's like a mini crowd pop where it's like ooh. And like you got that on that dunk from when he dunked on Claxton. There was like a collective like, oh, okay. Like it was pretty cool. So that's just one of my favorite little like basketball things that like you get sometimes.
It's irresistible when you see something cool, even if it's the other team. Also, you know what? Shout out to the Brooklyn crowd tonight, because when they were going on their comeback run, it actually got loud in there. Like I felt like you could really hear the crowd going crazy, which, you know, you don't see that often for the Brooklyn Nets. So
yeah, they had like 70% of their fans worldwide at the game tonight. So you know, I don't know if they can replicate that, but you know, that was pretty cool.
That was pretty cool, honestly. We mentioned Donovan Mitchell. He always, like I said in the last pod, he always kind of gets overlooked. And you mentioned this in your takeaways too. And it's really important to give him his shine, because 35 points on 10 of 15 shooting, just the array of jump shots that this man is capable of hitting. He doesn't even need to get open. He can make it regardless. But I do think that the Cavs did a good job of, you know, even more so than last game, letting him play off ball and come into actions with an advantage. And we really saw it pop when Lonzo Ball was in the game with him. Nothing crazy, nothing special, but it's just, all right. I highlighted one play on Twitter. Lonzo Ball's bringing it up the floor. Donovan Mitchell goes to screen. Larry Nance Jr. kind of just slides in last second and hip checks Donovan Mitchell's defender. Boom, he gets enough space for a catch and shoot 3. And those are the types of actions that we see when Darius Garland is healthy and running next to Donovan Mitchell. I think we saw a lot more of that with Lonzo Ball stepping in that role in this Brooklyn game than we did against New York, where really against New York, everything felt just entirely self-created for Donovan. And he certainly created most of his jumpers himself tonight too. But I thought the Cavs did a good job of letting him come off ball, whether it be, you know, flying out of the corner into a dribble handoff or getting screens, back screens, different things in the half court. Thought they did a really good job of making life a little bit easier on him. And of course, when he gets hot, I mean, the dude just didn't miss. He also got to the line 12 times, like you mentioned, in large part due to, you know, Jarrett Allen opening up the floor for him a little bit and letting him get to the rim. Thought this was an awesome Donovan Mitchell game.
I love a good James Harden stat line. Like 15, 35 points on 15 shots. That's like a prime James Harden stat line, and I'm always a big fan of those. Like, looks like Trae Young will have these games where he gets like a million points off of like free throws, but it's like he's also missing like, he's going like 4 for like 17 for like 26 points. And you're like, that's stupid. But like a good 10 for 15, like that was, it was he didn't get it like prime James Harden, but it was a prime James Harden stat line. So I always like those.
Yeah, I thought Donovan was great. Real quick to hit on a couple other guys, then we'll talk. I want to talk in depth about Mobley, and I do have some Sam Merrill thoughts, but just to hit on a couple of these other guys really quick. Craig Porter, we mentioned, 14 points, 6 to 7 shooting. He just had it going tonight. He was just really feeling himself. He hit 1 3, just kind of like a standstill 3 where he wasn't even that open, but he just said screw it from the top of the key and it went in. Thought Larry Nance Jr. was super impactful, 9 points, the 3 rebounds in 16 minutes. He was just in the right place at the right time. Like there was a bunch of, he only had 1 steal, but I swear it felt like more because the ball just kept landing in his lap, whether it was offensive rebounds. He only had 1 offensive rebound and 1 steal somehow, but I swear every other play, it just landed in his lap and he had like an open dunk or something. He was really good moving without the ball. Like I said, just always in the right place at the right time.
Watching him, I feel like the last 2 games, I've really been impressed by what I saw from him. I don't remember exactly what his plus minus was in the first game, but I'm pretty sure it was negative. And I know this game, I think it was like the worst on the team, I think. So
Dean Wade, surprisingly.
Dean Wade was for okay.
Were slightly
worse. Yeah, Mobley was bad. Okay.
Tyrese Proctor was a minus 11, but he was one of the only negative players tonight.
So
there's many negative players. Never mind. Don't want to lead people astray.
Anyways, so I just usually I don't like to use that as like an individual stat, but like I think they may be trying to figure out lineups that work for him. Because I think that's those bench lineups feel all the bench lineups feel very like haphazardly thrown together. Maybe like not like haphazardly in the sense that like nobody thought about it, but like they just don't. A lot of these bench lineups don't really like mesh. It felt like last year all the bench lineups, especially at like the beginning of the year, was like, wow, this like meshes perfectly. And I think a lot of that had to do with like Darius, Garland, and Jarrett Allen and Donovan Mitchell playing. And Evan Mobley playing, like that helps a lot more.
Ty Jerome helped a lot.
And Ty Jerome. So anyways, that's something like keep an eye on. Like, what are the best ways to use Larry Nance Jr.? Like, who does he pair well with? Like, maybe Nance and Wade as like a front line. Sit both Allen and Mobley. I feel like Mobley and Nance has like awkwardly like it's felt awkward when both were on the floor together. I don't know. So this is something to just like, keep an eye on, like, where does Nance fit best in like that big man rotation.
Yeah, it's something. There's going to be some trial and error as they figure it out, and I'm sure it'll get easier.
But he looks good.
Yeah, he does look good. It like that -5 really doesn't reflect how
right
I thought he was. And as Darius comes back, Strus, and DeAndre Hunter, I'm sure some of those second units will make a little more sense out there. And so looking forward to that. Jalen Tyson, he played well offensively. I'll say that. We've been harsh on him, but he did play well offensively. He did also get 3 steals, so he did find some success in that regard. But, I haven't really loved the Tyson experience. Dean Wade did what Dean Wade does tonight.
Can I say like one thing about the steals is I feel like steals are really important. If you're the Detroit Pistons, you need steals because your offense sucks. Like you can't get anything in the half court. Like the Cavs are, I think like last year they were the best half court offense, and they're an amazing half court offense. So I just don't understand why, like, if you have such a great half court offense, you would think you would maybe we got to give JV his flowers. Maybe he was on to what the Cavs needed. It was like the Cavs need to play slow. We need to have a good half court defense, keep him in the half court, and then just execute in the half court on offense. Unfortunately, he just didn't know how to get them to execute in half court on offense. So if we could get like a JB Bickerstaff defensive coordinator, Kenny Atkinson offensive coordinator, I think we'd be on to something there. So anyways,
credit to JB. that defense really was cooking. And, they don't have ball stopper Jetty Osman anymore. By ball stopper, I mean like defensive ball stopper, not offensively. I realize I probably used the wrong term there. Regardless, moving
defensive specialist.
Defensive specialist. That's more so what I meant. Moving on to this, Lonzo Ball still hasn't really shot it well, but I think you can see where he's going to help the team. He had 8 assists off the bench tonight. I mentioned how, they basically just let him run the offense while Donovan Mitchell got to take a little bit of a break. That was really nice. Proctor, not as impressive tonight, over 3. The kid's a rookie. He's going to have some bad nights. Overall, defense wasn't great. Didn't hit any of his shots. It's going to happen.
I felt like the harassment meme. I felt like that with how I was going to talk about Craig Porter Jr. compared to like Tyrese Proctor. Like if Tyrese Proctor had Craig Porter Jr.'s game, and like Proctor and like Craig Porter Jr. had Proctor's game, we'd be like losing our minds. Like, oh, Proctor's so good.
Yeah, you know what? We give
that's
a pass.
Yeah, so I did want to. Like I thought he was fine. He just wasn't hitting his shots. But I do want to just point out that I may have some blind spots. So just want to acknowledge that
everyone has a bias. The important thing is being
and an agenda. Yeah.
You just got to be transparent about it. If someone says that they are unbiased, they're lying to you. Everyone has a bias. Speaking of biases, actually, this is a good transition for you because I'm just gonna ask you straight up. How do you feel about Sam Merrill's road to 300 threes this season? He only needs 289 more. We're off to one hell of a pace.
I mean, is he on pace for like?
He's on pace for 300.
So yeah, I feel great about it. I feel great.
He's averaging 5.5 threes a game.
And the thing is, has he really even shot the ball well? 11 of 20 from 3 on the season. That's not even good for Sam.
That's below what he's capable of. He was 6 of 10 tonight.
One thing I need to like really dive into is I feel like all of his shots have been like super wide open, and like I'm not sure, and like it was like that against the Knicks too. So like I need to go back and look as to like how he's getting so open, but I just feel like Sam is playing really well right now. I think on the defensive side of the ball, he's continuing to play well. He's just been super impactful. The 3-point shooting is gonna cool down. That's just how it is. Sam is somebody. I mean, all shooters, like everyone's like, oh well, he's like like when we're talking about Jetty, this is the 9th time we talked about him today. Like, oh, he's not really a 38% 3-point shooter. He just gets really hot and he gets really cold. It's like, well, everyone's like that. And like Sam will have a month where he shoots like 44% from 3, and then he'll have a month where he shoots like 32. So. It looks like we're in the 44% month. So, while it's going, it's going to be great.
44% months. That's what you don't
maybe,
understand.
Maybe.
You're just being humble as the number one, the original Sam Merrill Islander, the first resident there.
It was just me and Wilson at first, but more people came.
It's expanded, but no, I'm joking a little bit, but I if anyone watched our season preview, I did drop off the take that maybe Sam Merrill is like a super, like, should there be just an ounce of talk about Sam Merrill being a 6th man of the year candidate? Because I know he's starting right now, but he's going to end up coming off the bench. And if the dude just cans 4 3-pointers a night, he's basically the Malik Beasley candidate from last year, where it's like, well, he's on a good team. He would be on a better team. You would assume Cavs will win more games than the Pistons did last year. He had a bunch of threes. Why not put him in the race? Like DeAndre Hunter, not to get sidetracked, but like DeAndre Hunter, I think is like the runner-up in odds to win 6th man of the year. He's not even going to come off the bench. I don't know when they're going to update that, but if anyone's bet money on DeAndre Hunter winning 6th man of the year, I'm sorry. He's going to start, so that sucks. And then Lonzo Ball is like the other guy who's in the running. His odds are very low, but like he's the only other Cavalier, and I'm like, he's not going to score enough to win 6th man of the year.
Well, he's not going to play. If he gets to play 20 minutes a game,
play.
Yeah, he's not going to play it. He's not going to have enough minutes.
So if any Cavalier should be there, I would vote Sam Merrill. Do I think he's actually going to win? No, of course, probably not. But just saying, should he's literally not even listed. You can't even find him. You can scroll all the way down. Sam Merrill's not there. Put him on the list. He's gonna be in the running. Will he?
Tony is just giving away money. This betting guru.
You can't bet on him on FanDuel or anything because he's not there. But if you find, wherever Chauncey Billups was at, you might be able to place a bet on Sam Merrill, and it'll be worth your time.
there's an interesting conversation to be had about the sixth man of the year in the sense that, like, it used to be like the James Harden, Jamal Crawford, like James Harden on the Thunder, like that very typical, like, I come off the bench, I get buckets, I sit back down role. And like that role doesn't really exist anymore, at least not in the same way. And with how deep teams are and how the best teams like the Thunder are just bringing in like, six guys off the bench and they're all like filling very unique roles and stuff, where it's hard to quantify what a sixth man of the year person looks like now. So it's, I do want to say that Sam, even though he doesn't like fit the stereotype, he could be that kind of guy just with how like this role is like changing. So just something to keep in mind.
Just something for fun. We'll be counting down his road to 300. And in all seriousness, he's off to a great start. I mean, 22 points tonight. He's playing really good. Also 5 assists. He threw some really nice passes tonight. Like some really good passes to Larry Nance Jr. Just a smart basketball player. Just playing really good ball. Now, last thing that I want to get to, and then we can wrap up. Let's talk about Evan Mobley. I think that he played a lot worse tonight than he did in game 1. Not going to have any sweeping overreactions or anything, but I just thought he looked, especially in the second half. First half, I thought good, fine. He played pretty good first half. Mm-hmm. Second half, I thought he looked a little sped up. He looked very sped up. He looked a little awkward. He passed out of some really good looks, giving it out to Dean Wade, I think twice for a 3 that he missed both of them. And like, hey, if Dean Wade's open, that's cool. But in one play, Mobley had Cam Thomas on him, and he was already like 2 feet in the paint. Just go up with the shot. I know Dean was open, but like we need you to go after that shot. And so I thought he became passive in the second half. I thought he became a little helter-skelter, a little sped up. Just, in all honesty, for the last 2 years, out of character. This is one of the less, the least confident he's looked in himself, which kind of came out of nowhere. But then with that being said, one of the final plays of the game with about a minute to go, the Cavs, I don't remember seeing this before, with I think a 5-point lead. Evan Mobley had the ball, and they let Donovan Mitchell run a screen for him. And he ends up getting a mismatch, goes into the post. Mitchell gives him the ball back, and he draws 2 free throws. Missed both of the free throws, but they gave Mobley, they let Mobley decide the game, essentially. Now, they were already up by 5, so they didn't. It's not like it was a 1-point game or anything, but they put the ball in Mobley's hands and let him operate at the end of the game, and he did stay confident enough to do that. So I'm not completely acting like we've erased all of his development. I just thought the second half was a bit rough for Mobley, and that's the growing pains that you're going to see with him trying to step into this role. What was your takeaway from Mobley's game tonight?
I think that we haven't seen him face the double teams that he's going to face this year at any point in his career, and I think he's getting used to that. If you get him the ball on the block and you send a double, he's very comfortable reading the double, trying to, look the double off with his eyes, pump fakes, things like that. And he generally makes the right decision out of that. If he's faced up and dribbling and you send a second guy, he very much looks like he has no idea what to do. And I think that that's one of the things where you're only going to learn how to handle those situations by handling them. So from one perspective, I'm okay with him struggling because honestly, I thought he struggled today. But on the other hand, it's something that he's going to have to overcome. And that's just sort of, you have to, this is part of, if he's going to be a superstar, like he has the talent to be, this is something he's going to have to overcome. And you'd like to see him continue to be aggressive in trying to become that, especially playing against a team like the Nets in a game that, we've talked about this game for 40 minutes, but this game, like the result of this game doesn't matter. What matters is like what kind of habits you're getting into, which is why the defense is so concerning. But I would like to see him be more aggressive today, but I also understand why he wasn't aggressive, because he really was not comfortable with those double teams. Mm-hmm. And just that sort of, it's like a quarterback who's been sacked a couple times in the beginning of the game, and then they start like feeling a rush that isn't there. Like they start throwing it away early, and it's like, dude, there was nobody like you had a clean pocket. Why did you do that? It kind of sometimes feels like that with like Evan Mobley. When he starts to speed up, it's like he can't like undo it sometimes. So I think that I'm not concerned overall or anything like that, but I think this is when we talk about growing pains for Evan Mobley, this is sort of what we're talking about. Games like this, and who knows, against the Bucks on Sunday, he could have 32 points. That wouldn't surprise me, but it also wouldn't surprise me if he kind of struggled again. So we'll just see. It's going to be a constant work in progress. I like what we saw in game 1, game 2. These aren't the growing pains that I like as much because he's like kind of shrinking away from the moment, but it is all still part of the process.
I'm right there with you. I agree completely. I thought he struggled tonight, but like this is the only way he's going to get better at this stuff is by experiencing it. And game 1, I thought the process was really, really good up until, some moments in the third and fourth quarter we talked about the ball got away from him. But tonight, he's going to have nights like this, right? This is the first time genuinely in his career that he has faced this much defensive attention. Again, partly because Darius Garland and DeAndre Hunter are out. When those two guys are back, it'll be a bit harder to load up on Mobley. And if you do, he might be able to make you pay even more because he did have 5 assists tonight. So he did read the floor pretty well in some cases. It was just, this is his first time facing this much defensive pressure. They're genuinely throwing double teams at him. Teams are loading up on him. Teams know that the Cavs want him to score in bunches now. And so he's facing, like, Nick Claxton's no joke. He didn't, that wasn't his primary defender all night. But, like, he's a good help defender. He can, muck things up for him. And so Mobley, it wasn't the best night. It's just game 2 of the season. We're going to see more reps for him in this role. And I think he's only going to get better as we go on because, as you said, I'm not worried. I feel very confident in Mobley blossoming into he's already an all-star, he's already an all-NBA player, and I think the ceiling is even higher than that for him. But to get there, you're going to have to go through nights like this. So it is what it is. You still picked up the win. It's not like he was horrible by any means. It just wasn't the night that you want from him.
I agree.
All right. I think that's going to do it for this episode of the Junkyard Pod. I want to thank everyone for watching or listening. Make sure that you're subscribed on YouTube. Follow us on Apple and Spotify. We'll have more episodes coming soon. Thanks again for watching. And as always, go Cavs.
I agree. Go Cavs.